The word atmosphere is used pretty loosely in the community. Usually when I hear others describe the atmosphere of a series, it's pretty vague, calling a show creepy or relaxing, but rarely going into detail about it. I bring this up because today I'll be reviewing a psychological thriller anime, and the thing about thrillers is that by definition, they require some form of suspense and anxiety. Produced by Studio Madhouse and directed by Yuzo Sato, today I'll be looking at Kaiji, an adaptation of the manga with the same name written by Nobuyuki Fukumoto. So does this anime succeed in being suspenseful and thrilling? Well, I'm here to share my thoughts. My name is Keten, and welcome to my review of Kaiji. The plot focuses on our main protagonist, Ito Kaiji, who is by all accounts a low-life loser who can't seem to catch a break in life. One day, he's approached by a shady businessman who informs him that he must repay a huge debt which his friend tricked him into taking responsibility for. Unable to pay the debt himself, the man offers a chance to not only pay it off, but to become rich beyond his wildest dreams. Having accepted this, he's taken to a cruise ship which hosts illegal gambling. From there, it's about Kaiji's struggle to overcome his opponents in a variety of fairly inventive games, with the risk being that if he ends up owing more money than he began, his life will be essentially over, becoming a slave worker to the people he owes money to. The theme of the story is pretty easy to pick up on, exploring the psychology of greed and how cruel, crazy, and risky it can make us become. And it doesn't sugarcoat it, showing how addictive it can be not just through the characters' actions, but even through the suspenseful atmosphere the series has. The story moves at a very slow pace, which may be an issue for some, but because even the smallest mistake can cause a character to lose everything, the slowness helps build anticipation and anxiety, since every moment is important, and it makes the show a very addicting watch. This is complemented by our protagonist of the story, Kaiji. While he certainly starts off as a low-life loser, he's a very compelling and interesting character, going through excellent character development, and due to his notable flaws, and having those around him constantly put him down, it makes it all the more easy to root for him. While you may root for him though, it doesn't mean he always comes out on top. He makes mistakes, he lets his emotions and greed get the better of him, and it makes him feel a lot more realistic. He will often cry and see himself as hopeless, but no matter how down he gets, he always gets back up to try again and improve his life. This is not only very but also inspiring and only makes his achievements all the more satisfying. The other characters are not as great though. Not to say there isn't a fun character here or there, but for the most part they seem more like background decorations, meant to serve the topics of the story rather than being interesting themselves. They also act dumb in some cases, but I didn't have too big of a problem with it since it makes sense given that they're all a bunch of losers, and it makes the supposed more intelligent characters look very clever by comparison, which is a trick used by a lot of anime, even Legend of the Galactic Heroes. The ending is a bit too open and simple for my liking, but it's still satisfying and cathartic, so I can't say I have too big of an issue with it. The characters aren't the best, and it can be a bit too slow at times, but overall it's very well written. The art style may take an episode or two for you to get used to, but I honestly think the show wouldn't be half as thrilling without it. Not only do the exaggerated facial features help to point out the characters' imperfections, fitting for a story about a bunch of lowlifes and rich psychopaths, but the facial expressions that this style provides are very over the top, which only serves to help them stick out more and make certain scenes more emotionally impactful. The rest of the visual presentation follows this pattern as well, having multiple moments of over-the-top symbolism and intense angles which, while campy at times, helps to make the moments feel a lot more important and exciting. Sadly, the animation isn't as outstanding as the rest of the visuals. It does have its moments where it's used to give certain body motions more impact, such as slamming hands down on a table, but otherwise it's pretty stiff. It does improve in the second season a bit, but not enough to be too noticeable. Even so, it's nothing bad, it just could have been better. The background music was done by Hideki Taniyuchi, and he did a phenomenal job. Kaiji has some of the most suspenseful tracks I've heard in the medium, ranging from frantic guitar and piano pieces to slower, more depressing tracks, which only serve to enhance the atmosphere further. On top of that, the original writer Fukumoto is pretty famous for his zawazawas, which translated surprisingly well into anime. I think it works because the presentation and narrative are just campy and over the top enough that something as silly as verbal sound effects fit like a glove, and they were even incorporated into the background music in some cases, and surprisingly added a lot due to being associated with feelings of uneasiness. Just like everything else in the show, the performances of the voice actors are also pretty over the top and campy. The dialogue can get corny at times and take you out of certain scenes, but it does go along well with the rest of the presentation, so I can't say it hurts the show too much. The narration, on the other hand, is a big plus. Normally I'm not a fan of narrators constantly explaining what is clearly being portrayed visually, but this is a special case, where the overdramatic way the narrator explains what is going on helps to make the slower moments feel all the more important, and really adds an extra layer of tension. While certainly campy and over the top, I can't say the show's presentation is anything less than excellent, and I don't think the show would be half as suspenseful and addicting without it. The staff did a fantastic job. Kaiji has its flaws here and there. The side characters are pretty uninteresting, the dialogue can be too corny at times, but overall it's a very fun and well put together series with excellent writing and presentation. I suppose one last negative is that, being a thriller, the series does rely quite a bit on plot twists, so I can't say it's easily rewatchable, at least for some. But given just how entertaining and memorable the series is, it's well worth checking out, and I highly recommend it. If you've seen this show, let me know what you think of it in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you next time.